Hi guys, welcome back. This is Alpha Omega occasionally, and on this occasion we're talking about what not to do in Thailand. And some of the things we're going to discuss in this might not be immediately apparent, but they have become, they became very apparent and very real for me in the first, say, 6 months to a year living here. And I'm going to share some of those experiences with you now. So sit back, relax and enjoy this, because I think this is invaluable information if you want to live in Thailand, that is. The first item on the agenda is don't trust anybody. And I mean don't trust anybody, be it fellow foreigners, and I won't use the term foreigner, I hate that term, it's a racist term as far as I'm concerned, but don't trust anybody, whether I say it's fellow expats or Thai, because you don't know where you stand. And I'm going to give you scenarios, things that happened to me where I was ripped off by both Thais and fellow foreigners, let's say Westerners. The reason it's not just this doesn't apply to Thailand, it applies to anywhere. If someone knows you're fresh off the boat, wet behind the ears, that anyone who wants to take advantage of you will take advantage of you. And that's what happens. And the more that you try to integrate, the more that you leave yourself exposed. This is what happened to me. I'm not going to mention where it happened or who occasioned it to me, but I'll just put it this way. I was between a rock and a hard place. I had to make friends, and I went to certain places where fellow foreigners went to, watering holes, let's say, and I just more or less said what my intention was, to stay here and blah blah blah. But before I go into that, I had befriended a fellow foreigner in the early stages. This is before I went to this watering hole, and they let me stay in their apartment, which didn't turn out to be their apartment at all. And they knew I had money, because obviously you have to have money coming here, but to get yourself set up. But more or less, I agreed to facilitate this individual with some funds. It wasn't because he was putting me up in this apartment. It was just because we were friends, you see. But as soon as I gave him 300,000 baht, sorry, I beg your pardon, $3,000. But as soon as I gave him 100,000 baht, $3,000, that was it. He disappeared with the money. Turned out the apartment wasn't his in the first place, and I was left between a rock and a hard place. I got myself out of that situation. I don't want to dominate the video by that story, but that's one of the things that happened. A fellow foreigner knew I had money because he heard my story, because I was talking to him in a place, in a watering hole, let's say, and he said, well, I can help you out, you see. And it turned out that he was only saying that to befriend me, to get access to some money, you see. Another one, again within the same time period, I ended up befriending another, I'm not going to go into all details because you can't talk bad about people in Thailand, you see, good or bad or indifferent, so I'm not going to mention any names, but I befriended another countryman of mine, let's say, and they ripped me off to the tune of another 100,000 Thai baht, so that's $6,000 within the space of 2 or 3 months. And you're probably saying, what a fool am I to part with my money? It wasn't that. I exchanged that money in the second instance for some merchandise, and I say merchandise, something that was useful to me. And I'm not going to go into any detail because I don't want to, but the person on the other end took full advantage of that, and I was ripped off. Thai-wise, I've been ripped off by certain professionals here. I was in the process of trying to solidify my stay here, and a professional person ripped me off to the tune of 20,000 baht. Now, you're probably saying, well, why don't go into detail? But I can't go into detail because you don't do that kind of thing here. Another thing not to do is not to live where other expats live, i.e. Sukhumvit, or as some people on social media who really annoy me when they say it. No, it's not no, it's nana. There's a lot of expats that gravitate towards, in Bangkok, the Sukhumvit area, and they live their entire lives in the Sukhumvit area, and they know nothing else about the rest of the place. If you frequent these places, you'll inevitably pal around with other expats. And some of the conversation, I want to go from my own experience. I'm not saying this is definitely the case, but in my experience, listening to some of the expats in their bars in Sukhumvit talking bullshit about bullshit all day long, you don't want to be surrounded by that. Where I am now is a place you could live. I do a lot of my videos from here. This is Wigwang Market during the day. A wonderful place to come at any time, and there's no farang. I hate that term. I'm using it as a term of convenience, but there are none. And you'd be as well off coming 10,000 kilometres is the distance from Dublin to Bangkok. 10,000 kilometres. I didn't travel 10,000 kilometres to drink in an Irish pub in Sukhumvit and speak to other expats. I'm glad I don't frequent those places, because you can, I've said this before, you can remain anonymous in a place like this, and that's one of the beautiful things about it. So don't live in a place frequented by people like you, because you didn't travel all this distance to do that. If that was the case, you might as well stay at home. Visas. Choose your visa carefully. Are you going to go for a retirement visa? Are you going to go for an education visa? Are you going to go for a business visa? Are you going to go for a marriage? I know none of these are visas in their own right. They're all old visas, but they're variations of that. In other words, don't get married unless you have to. Well, don't get married unless you want to. I'm married because I want to. I wanted to. And it was convenient as well, because it facilitated the visa. But that wasn't the reason I got married. I got married because I wanted to, visa or not. But make sure that if you are getting married, remember you're entering into a relationship with someone from a different culture, and their family. And I don't know why I'm looking over my shoulder. I'm well above the traffic. They can beep all they want, but their families are from a different culture, and by and large they don't speak English, and by and large you'd be alienated. It would be wonderful if you could be self-sufficient and not have to rely on other foreigners for advice and blah blah blah. That's something you never do, as I said earlier, and not have to rely on a wife, a Thai wife, for your existence here. I said that in the previous video as well. One of the things that I'd add to this as well is, if you are coming here to work, make sure you're working independently. In other words, you're not relying on social media for your income, because I've made no secret of this. The tax situation in Thailand has changed. My Google AdSense account, I have to supply Thai tax information, which I did today. I am now a Thai tax resident. There you go. So that will shut all the haters up. That will shut up all the haters. I'm a Thai tax resident. I just supplied AdSense with my credentials, my documentation. Whether or not AdSense will accept that, I've got to wait 3 to 7 days. But you don't want to be in that situation when you come here. So don't rely on social media for your income in Thailand, unless your address and your bank are outside the kingdom. They're just some of the things that I can share with you based on the experience that I've had in this wonderful place. And I hope that I've answered some questions for you, or maybe I've posed some questions to you, and if you're interested in having a discussion about that, you can leave a comment in the comment section, and I'll try to get back to as many comments as possible. But remember, lads, if you haven't done so already, click that like button, the share button, the subscribe button, do all those wonderful things, and I'll bring you back another wonderful video very soon. Thanks for joining me. Hello there.